feature Friday.
The freshest.
Well, a very dramatic title, RIP Vocals in 2022. This got sent by one of you guys, and I thought we'd dissect it and have a look at it. Because do we think it's the end of live vocals? No, very likely.
Definitely not.
Do we think, however, that the sort of the utilization of technology, autotune and autocorrection and tone correction in live sort of shows is becoming predominant? Yes. But let's give it a watch.
But again, if you want to hear this channel's full opinion of it, I will leave the channel linked on the description below, so you can go watch it and form your own opinions yourself.
Yeah, they sort of do go in depth and they have their own opinions and stuff like that. I just thought this was a good video to look at the performances and us to give our opinions. Obviously, if you'd like to hear their opinion, I will leave the link in the description.
That's actually pretty good, dude.
Yeah, that's not real. And that's live music.
And you know what? I don't have a problem with it because I know that what it's happening in these environments is that in like live settings that are in studio where the sound is pre-processed and post-edited, you're also covering your backs when it comes to like image portray how the idols are being portrayed. So they're very careful into what type of environments they put themselves forward. So I know that there's a lot more that goes on. Also, you're seeing them sitting down and then also dancing, which is two completely opposites to live vocals itself. So if you had perhaps the same type of like given environment, I would say, okay, that would be a more fair judgment of what they sound like.
I mean, there's no beating around the bush. The argument is when these says live performances, and there's the one that they're sitting down, and that's on a natural sound. No one sounds like that. That sort of pitch correction is so fucking perfect that it turns into something else. And that's not to say that the girls or whoever the subject of discussion is bad or good, but it's just, I think what the argument is, like, they keep mentioning that thing live, but that wasn't live. That was pre-recorded. And if it is live, that has post-production to the extent that it has pitch correction. So the question is,
I think is more of the second example than it is the first.
On the second example, what you get to see is when you dance and when you're doing backflips and you're doing spin and pirouettes and you're dancing, touching your toes, going down, changing outfits, going up and down, every human changes their breathing rate and their heart rate has an impact on your vocal folds.
Absolutely.
And physiologically, it's bloody impossible. Impossible. It doesn't matter what anyone says to you. It doesn't matter how much you like them, how much you dislike them. No one can sound the same sitting down and standing up, dancing around, doing touching their toes and all that stuff, doing yoga.
Doing yoga.
It's impossible. Can you mitigate the effects of fatigue and the impact of breathing rates and breathing control through exercises, better stamina and experience? Absolutely.
Yes.
To the extent that it has no impact, no, that's impossible. But to the extent that we've seen a good example of this is Shiny, they were very good at this. There were examples of sort of when they had, pitch correction on, and they had sort of they were focusing on dance. You can tell there's a difference, but they were very good, and they still are very good at sort of managing choreography. Super Junior was also a good example of this, managing numbers and repertoire, so that when you do give them 100% of the mic, it's not impossible for them to perform at the best of their capability.
That's right.
It still requires training, it's very difficult, bloody impossible.
And especially when there are songs that are so vocally demanding, because even though the phrases here are quite short and each member gets a very short phrasing, it actually doesn't help with the breathing rate in which they are exerting, and also the fact that they're at the top of their larynx at any given environment. It's really hard. Imagine that you're trying to finish off somebody's sentence whilst you're running or jumping rope at the same time.
Tough.
At the same pitch that the last person just spoke. It's
not impossible, but very unlikely.
But it's very difficult, yes. That's not bad!
real. That was fucking impressive.
She sounds better live.
Dude.
Again, that was actually really impressive. But this puts into perspective how good and how incredibly difficult it is to sound so cohesive in those live stages performances. Because, dude, when you see them live, that's when you really get a proper hold, a proper grasp of their natural sound. It's cool.
The next example is Acmo, so you already know.
Yes.
What I'm gonna say. They are the best duet in the world, without a doubt. And it's regardless of what you think, like here, like, you know, my concern is not that, like, for example, this performance. That's real. That shit. That's how that's going to sound if you do the choreo and you have the movement involved.
I was gonna say, I just think it's such an unfair back to back.
What I think the comparison kind of missed in is the impact of movement in singing and the impact of the performance and also the environment. All these environmental factors play a huge role. I think the previous performance, it certainly wasn't 100% live. It had post-production, but the vocals were real. And that's what that's why I think Acmo are the best duet in the world. You look at them in every environment of this type of, in this type of environment, in the environment which is the stillness,
there's
control variables. If it's maybe like a radio setting, which is the worst because everything is amplified to 1,000, and those are some of their most viral performances. Pre-production, post-production. Does that even make sense? It does. They're sitting down, super still, have complete control over their breath.
Have complete control of what they're hearing back.
Yeah.
Because these environments are also very dry. They're perfectly customized for the right equalization for the singer too. So it's completely different. Also, that you see the comparison into this performance, for example. In like live stages, it's so different because this equalization is actually not made for them either. There's a bunch of other artists
and live
there's a bunch of other artists, there's a bunch of other performances that happen before or after her turn, so it's not completely 100% made for them, so they have to adjust. This is pretty much like a festival like setting, where you would think, oh, your favorite artist might do the best, but given the fact that it's not tailor-made for them 100%, it could be to a certain extent. Like I would say that it's adjusted to their needs about a good 45% of what the environment can provide.
50, 60. Yeah, depends also how famous and popular you are.
But again, it's really at a disadvantage. A 50-50 like environment is not good enough to make you 100% great.
In comparison to a 100% tailored made.
Which I don't think, I'm not hearing a lot of auto-correction here.
Yeah, there's a mix here on the pitch correct. There's no pitch correction here. What you saw was the simple layers and then a backing vocalist.
And there's a really good reverb, yeah.
And immense amount of post-production in terms of correction of the highs, mids, lows.
The equalization overall.
The gate sound. So that's what you're seeing, not pitch correction. Maybe that's a good correction to mention there.
This is very dry in comparison. Just very good though. She's amazing either way though.
A common
that was identical.
Is that idols have to dance, but as you can see, it makes no difference. In fact, idols sitting down are more likely to be auto-tuned because they're seen as special performances, and companies want them to sound and look as luxurious as possible.
Definitely.
Yeah, that's something I think can change.
to last forever. 버릇처럼 뱉더니 말처럼 보기 좋게 끝났잖니. Also, she's singing at the radio. See, this is a better comparison side by side, because you're giving her the life environment, which is life to the moment, which is that's also a very important highlight to put into perspective, that what you're hearing into the it's live, it's because they're taking it live in the moment, and is most likely the first or second take that they do in studio, because they have a lot of more things, a lot of other more things that they have to do in the same day. The many performances that you see from the same channel with the same artist are probably all done in the same day in a very small window of time. So you're seeing a lot of life to the moment. So, and in the other one, next in the black and white frame here, you're seeing her in the radio-like environment, which is way drier. And there's a lot less of the manipulation of the sound itself, because it's radio, so it's made for speech. Right? Yeah.
Very difficult song as well. Not because it's a technically difficult sound or musically complex or vocally complex song. Pop is one of the most difficult genres to make good. Yeah. Just make it sound good live.
Without any post-production.
It's fucking impossible. It's horrible. Like it's
because it's so electronically made on studio.
Yeah, it's so technologically forward that when you go live, it's horrible. But go on. No one sounds like that real.
That's very good, though. That's very, very good.
It's fair.
I should let it go.
Another interesting aspect that perhaps if you want to try and analyze whether your favorite performance or just performances are actually exerting the amount of energy or force required to be able to sing those type of songs, given their vocal pedigree, look at their throat.
Yes.
Look at the exertion. Look at perhaps the veins. Look at perhaps the physical anchoring. Look at perhaps the amount of physical effort that Somi is having to perform for that amount of song. That's nothing to knock down on Somi. It's just her ability and larynx flexibility is what it is. That's who she is.
That's right.
But if you look at the one in It's Live, it's like the most relaxed fucking thing I've ever seen in my life. And my father and I did review that performance. And, we were impressed mainly at sort of the band arrangement and things like this. And I think that's one of the reasons why as well, I think a lot of people have they come and go to It's Live. Because nowadays, given their magnitude and, huge success to them, we do know some people that are involved in that kind of thing in It's Live. So it's like huge success to them. But that comes at it's like a double-edged sword.
It is.
Now you get the big names. The big names come with the big labels. These big labels want things a specific manner.
That's right.
So it's not like selling your soul, but it's like you have to adapt to them because you want to try and achieve new heights.
That's
I can say this confidently because we are kind of in the learning to be in the back end of things, especially in the Korean industry. And I do encourage you to tune into some of these podcasts that we're doing. Like we have Very, Very coming soon, Kingdom coming soon, which I've sort of spoiled. And we have other bands coming soon. And they're getting more and more sort of, the good news is that we're getting some of our favorites into the channel. I can't reveal who they are in the future and what's coming next, but it is like big time and it's like so fucking exciting. And that comes with a specific amount of responsibilities. Things change. Also, the more you learn,
perspectives change. Also, the approach to the artist itself changes, given their concept for this specific comeback. A lot of multiple external variables that you're in absolutely no control as an artist. Or as a provider of the environment.
Somi had no bloody impact in any of this, mate.
Absolutely
she
was there to
sing
do
and perform.
She does.
But anyways, come on. Very important video, I think, and I hope you enjoy it.
This channel is blown up this year by branding themselves as having the best live performances.
Basically, what I just mentioned.
The new standard. People expect all idols to sound like live. But this channel
They
has
are
so
very
much
good.
auto-tune, vocal layering, and backtrack. They're basically band studio versions and not live. At what point are we okay with a performance being fixed to the point it's inhumanly possible? No one thinks it's weird you've never seen an idol breath heavily, crack, strain or be slightly flat on these lives.
This is exactly
That's
what we're sort
just
of
not
mentioning.
possible.
I think Dingo does a better job. I think Dingo, in that sense of
Dingo music.
Dingo music, does a better job. Hence why we were so eager to do a special on them.
Yeah.
They do a better job of that. However, I think the caliber of artists and the performances that they try and encourage, like ballads, not pop, ballads.
Yeah, very rare you get pop, or you either get straight up hip hop where the artist is straight up rapping, or you get a very good balladeers, people that won't crack under pressure type of background, which is actually quite impressive because having to promote pop-like tracks in this given environments are just, it's unfair to a level where it's inhumane, and it's unfair to the singer because you know you're not giving your best performance. So it's very hard to live up to something that you've made on studio, that it's not gonna be the same in a live environment, that it's not given for, that it's not made for a live environment, unless you're on a stage with 3,000 electric like lights and backup dancers and an actual band, or maybe a DJ in the mixture too. You're not gonna sound fat enough. It's just
thick.
And it's just the environments. That's why the music is made for that specific environment.
But I don't want to knock its life because I like him. I genuinely do, and it just.
I think it's misunderstood in its
Well,
core essence.
What I think we should be able to move away from. By the way, this is also to do with like what YouTube is and stuff like that. It's like band studio version might not be as popular. It like live obviously sounds better. It's like the whole title thing.
It takes less characters as well.
Yeah,
Band studio version is
it's
like
a whole bunch
words.
of shit that comes into this. Is it an excuse to perhaps deceive? No, but I don't think
it's deceiving.
I think what we should move away from though, it's making it clearer. But I think that comes, the market sets the demand. So that comes to fans, that comes to people just that listen to it. So it's like, there's no need to try and lie, because it's like a dirty secret that everyone knows. It's like, it doesn't need to be a secret. I think that's essentially what we'll evolve to as well.
That's right.
The problem is, again, and we're just, I mean, two people in a couch. What the fuck do we know? But certain industries have their certain sort of ways of doing things, and they have their certain standards.
Yeah, that's right.
And you simply have to buy to them, or go to another industry, or learn from someone else.
And that's the beauty of worldwide music.
Yes. However, I think what we can improve, because I am a big fan of this industry and it's awesome. I think one of the things that it can improve is that sort of idea of, there's no need to say it's live in the moment. If it wasn't live in the moment, maybe put a disclaimer at the end. Maybe put a disclaimer at the beginning. No, it doesn't. It's not going to hurt anyone, because fans are going to tune in anyways. You know, but maybe put live band version.
But they have. I think I've seen plenty of like Pentagon covers, blah blah blah, band version.
Yeah, but that's because they have a band.
And that already changes the whole thing.
Yeah, but
because the arrangement is different as well.
Yeah, but that's just the band version of it, not the live version of it.
Fair enough.
The live version of it, I'm expecting the sound that we saw of Stacey in the live stage show, which is quite brutal. I don't think that's actually correct. What you should have done is, when they're sitting down, show me what they're capable of. Mamamoo has done that. Twice I've done that often.
But then again, those songs are so pop forward. They're so pop forward. How do you make them sound?
So that's the conundrum. However, I do want to say this. There's no heroes in this fucking story. There's literally none.
Villains either. Like, there's no villains either. I think that, because when you're inside the industry, you understand where they're protecting and what's happening. Like, I don't see the Autotune as the big bad evil wolf in the whole studio.
Most of it is not Autotune, and sometimes get that wrong. Like, press play. Wow, what the fuck? That
girl.
So that it was just that phrase there. That's there you saw some pitch correction, right? Which some people call it. Well, I mean, it is Autotune, but it wasn't on the whole time.
No.
And that's like taking credit away from everyone.
The act itself, yeah.
this
I
dude?
don't know who this is, but it's amazing. You're also seeing there's a breath situation happening, which I think the previous phrasing is too long, given the type of breathing that she's doing here to maintain that velvetiness throughout the whole phrasing. That obviously doesn't play to her advantage in this like completely super amplified, echoey reverb room that they have going on.
That's just ideal. Like,
but yeah,
it's like
doesn't take credit away though. I don't see what like that. That's my argument with this whole video. It's like it's trying to put down the whole industry view, but I don't think it's taking any credit away from what they can do. What they can do. Choking myself with my own words, but yeah.
I don't think that's what the video's trying to do. Actually, I think what the video's trying to do is sort of showcase that it does feel a bit, to them at least, like double-faced. Like it feels like you're selling me something, but it's not actually. And then when you're trying to sell me the real thing, that becomes undermined because everyone's perspective, like these live showcases, are some of the, some of these live performances where they're sitting down and everything's like perfect, luxurious and stuff. Those are some of the most popular ones.
Yes.
But the ones where it's like real vocals, then people think they're shit.
Yes,
but it's simply because their view of live music is distorted.
That's right. I agree. I
think that's probably what the video is trying to allude to. I could be. I mean, let us know. At the end of the day, it's a community, right? So let us know what you guys think.
She's very good, though.
Who is she?
I have no idea.
Yeah, that's so natural. That doesn't sound like that.
Her modulation is incredible, though. I'll give her that.
Also, what? Why would you not put reverb on that fucking?
Because it's radio. Because it's radio, bro.
She's singing.
Oh God, I'm sorry, but she is insane. I don't know who she is. Okay, that's also at the freaking top of her freaking larynx. That's sitting up there in that mixed position that is so uncomfortable.
It's really rough, go on. Yeah, just that. It's just telling you something else.
This
your performance
to
show.
Yeah.
Wow. God,
when she anchored into that last phrase, I think also, given this freaking environment of radio, bruh, it's so unforgiving. And also, when you're hearing yourself amplified in that really raw-like environment, you're like, oh my God, what the hell? I'm never gonna get this right. Because there's nothing scarier than hearing yourself in a dry-like environment where you know you have zero control of what's gonna come out of you.
Even rapping is super weird.
It's horrendous.
So that's why those, like, if you ever see those freestyles in radio stations, they're so impressive because they're able to get their tone right. They're able to, obviously, the pressure of the moment and the speech-like qualities emphasized even more. So their cadence and the capability of pronouncing things at speed in the right moment is correct. SM has made using pre-recordings for encore stages. Legit now. This will become standard now. Go on.
Oh, right. And you know what? I'm not mad at that because they have already won, and usually this end up like
they're quite messy and chaotic.
So
anyways.
messy.
It's just a shame that now you won't get those moments.
I know, obviously, it's a meme, and it's like one of the things that fans look forward to the most. Like they're out there like breathless and running around in costumes and whatever.
Showcase that one, a studio track showcase.
Exactly, like how they do it in the West. So I suppose that could be like, a bit of like...
It is, maybe, maybe there's arguments, well, I used to like it better when he was like that, but it's not like these performances were ever the best ones.
Exactly. They made they made memorable moments for the fact that they were not great.
Yeah, because they were funny, and they were fun, and
that's
they're
right.
like, wow, they won.
Yeah, that's right. This is a great song, though.
Yeah, they're just... That actually causes problems. Twice has been bullied and harassed for half a decade for having bad vocals to the point they're afraid to sing. Also, with Twice, I've been heavily surprised if you ever find those a cappella moments for Twice where they're sitting down and they have stillness and they're not dancing, because again, that is not possible. And perhaps that is something that gets discussed amongst fans of sort of Korean pop.
And it's crazy though, because some of their actual fan cams from concerts, their vocals are impeccable.
Yeah, really.
And they're doing some incredible movements.
They're impressive. I'm actually a big supporter of them. So I don't think that it's like Momo doesn't have vocals. It's like she's obviously a world class dancer. It's the same as Kai. So Kai is a good example. It's like Kai is a world class dancer, right? But their level of singing, it's pro standard.
That's right.
When you pair it up with the dance and everything that they do, so you can't judge everyone based on the same criteria. That's right. You can't utilize those criteria that comes from different parts of the world.
And it's so generic.
Yeah,
it's so generic.
It doesn't work. Because it's, maybe who would be an example? It's like, someone who's really popping at the moment. It's like Olivia Rodrigo, right? She's a good singer. She's genuinely a good singer. I think she shines most when she's doing acoustic stuff and she's doing still and settled performances. But that's not what sells pop, right?
That's right.
She have to dance and stuff like that. Is she to the dance standard of someone like Momo or Kai or Lisa? No. But that's not what she is.
That's right.
And also, that's not the standard of the US. You don't need to do that.
And there's different criterias, and I think you could obviously see, and you need to switch your brain a little bit into your own perspectives when you see different music industries and different groups, because they all stand for different things. Like, you can't compare somebody like a group like Momo Land to, I don't know, Twice, and the same vocal pedigree. They stand for different things, and they do different level of different difficulties at their best, and they sell their best foot forward, obviously. So I then again, I think it's a bit too generalized when it comes to like, Autotune, who sings, who cannot, and I think it's all about also what are you comparing to, because you're comparing a still performance to a dancing performance on a live setting. There's too much disparity there.
Yeah, to say that they're bad singers or good singers,
or that they need it or they don't need it.
Yeah.
It's
the ironic thing though is where they need it and where they should have it is when they're doing their live stages stuff.
Yeah,
and I don't know why those ones don't have it. Because it's like a live stage showcase.
And I think it's because they're not in absolute control of the environment.
Yeah, it's like an award show type of thing.
That's right.
And also, now that we know, so a lot of those performances, they're sort of, a lot of these guys, they don't know they're going to be performing at what time or anything like that, so sometimes they just kind of get called up and stuff like that, so it's quite stressful, and all of that plays a lot to us. So my respect for these guys have gone through the roof, and these girls.
I respect this whole industry to a major level. I think there's a lot to learn if you're a new performer or if you're training. There's a lot of things you can take into your own advantage, like dissect and go back into.
It's admirable. Yes, it's good. Yes, it's bad.
It is really awesome.
I think the thing that it can definitely improve is in those sort of live performances, not just on that channel, but I mean like when it's actually live. There's no need to try and do that amount of post-production that they have and all of that stuff.
I think a good balance, again, from the South Korean music industry and entertainment industry, because it's not just music, it's like TV, right? It's like, who found a really good balance was the program Begin Again. Do you remember?
They found a great balance of that.
Really great balance of like environmentally equalizing and producing the tracks to a point where you could hear the naturality of the environment itself.
Immortal songs, that performance thing, but like the Mamamoo environment, really find a good one.
Yes,
a good balance of things as well. Dingo it's finding a good balance. It does have performances where it leans more one way, it leans more another. I think it also matters on sort of the caliber of the singing that you're coming in.
But most of it is pretty raw.
Dingo deserves a lot of credit. Its live also deserves a lot of credit. It's not easy to try and build up a show like that.
Insane amount of like credits to go around. It's a huge production.
I'd love to have some of those musicians come in and maybe they can speak on a bit more like that. But anyways, let us know perhaps what you thought about it. Just our opinions. Let us know what yours are. And goodbye.
That's right.